The day my parents told me I'd have to sleep in the garage, it wasn't because we had a guest or a home emergency. It was because my sister, Rachel, needed my room. Not wanted, needed. She was 2 years younger than me, the golden child with straight-A report cards, violin recitals, and a calendar filled with social events that my parents treated like royal galas. I was just me. Quiet. Average grades, kept to myself, loved drawing and painting, and never caused trouble. But apparently, being quiet and well-behaved made me invisible. Please subscribe to our channel and tell me in comments from where are you watching this video. I remember standing in the doorway of the garage with a blanket under one arm and my sketchbook in the other. My mother had said it was just for a while so Rachel could focus on her important SAT prep and upcoming audition, and my father just nodded along as if he wasn't kicking his firstborn out of the house into a dusty, cold concrete space with a leaking pipe and a broken lamp. I was 17, a senior in high school. That garage didn't even have a real bed, just an old mattress from my toddler years, tossed in the corner under the shelves stacked with boxes of Christmas ornaments and rusted tools. The first few nights, I cried quietly so no one would hear me. The garage was freezing. I wore 3 layers of sweaters, and still my fingers went numb when I tried to draw. Drawing was all I had left, my only escape. My friends started noticing something was off. I stopped inviting them over. I avoided video calls. I made excuses not to hang out. I couldn't let them see what I had become. I felt like a guest in my own life, like someone who didn't belong in her own home. What hurt the most was how easily my parents justified it. Rachel's future is bright, they'd say. She needs quiet and space. Apparently, my future didn't matter. I applied to colleges in secret. I created a portfolio of my artwork and applied to an art school in New York City, using the tiny light on my phone to finish pieces late into the night in that garage. My parents didn't know. They wouldn't have approved anyway. Art isn't a career, my dad once said while flipping through bills. It's a hobby for rich kids who don't need to work. Rachel never once said thank you. She decorated my old room with fairy lights, pastel curtains, a new desk. She showed it off during FaceTime calls like it was always hers. I saw her friends call it Rachel's Sanctuary and laugh like it was a spa retreat. My sanctuary was a space with spiders and oil stains. I started to feel like I was fading from their memory, like I'd been traded for someone shinier and newer. But I didn't let it break me. I let it mold me. I started posting my artwork anonymously online. Small drawings at first, then bigger, more expressive pieces. Portraits with hidden pain, dreamscapes made of loneliness and silence. I never used my name, just a username. Cold Room Dreamer. Within a few months, my art started gaining traction. People connected with the emotion in my lines. They wrote comments like, "I feel this in my bones," and "How did you draw exactly what I feel?" I started getting emails. Then came the big one, a scholarship offer from a prestigious New York art school. Full ride. They said they'd been following my work for months and wanted me there. My heart nearly exploded with a mix of disbelief and quiet triumph. I wasn't invisible to everyone, but I didn't tell my parents. Not yet. I wanted to wait. Then, one night, Rachel had a breakdown, stress from her prep school, a poor test score, something minor. My parents came into the garage with worried faces and said she needed some space to reset. They wanted me to sleep in the car for a few days. That was the moment something in me finally snapped. I didn't cry, I didn't argue, I just nodded and started quietly planning my departure. That weekend, while my parents were away visiting a relative, I packed everything I owned into 2 suitcases and a duffel bag. I took my sketchbooks, my clothes, my laptop, and the acceptance letter I'd hidden in a shoebox. I left a note on my garage mattress. It said only this: "Thank you for showing me I deserve better. Don't look for me. I won't be in the car." Then I boarded a train to New York. New York felt like a completely different world. Loud, chaotic, alive. And for the first time in a long time, I felt like I belonged somewhere. My first night in the city, I stayed in a tiny hostel near the school, sharing a room with 2 strangers. But even with the noise outside, the creaky bed, and the unfamiliar ceiling above me, I felt peace. Nobody was about to ask me to sleep in the garage. No one was going to tell me I was taking up space someone else deserved. Art school was everything I had dreamed and more. My professors saw what my parents never had: potential, raw emotion, storytelling through color, pain, silence, and shade. I threw myself into my classes, into workshops and projects, staying up for days painting until I couldn't see straight. My hands were always covered in charcoal and ink. I was exhausted, broke, and for the first time in my life, fulfilled. By my second semester, I had landed a paid internship at a small gallery. They were fascinated with my work, especially the collection I titled Rooms Without Doors, inspired by nights in the garage. One of my pieces, a dark, haunting painting of a young girl staring out from behind a cracked wooden door, went viral after an influencer reposted it. Suddenly, people wanted to buy my art. I was getting interview requests, article features, and offers from galleries across the country. My name, my real name, started to appear in press releases. That's when the calls started. Voicemails from my mother, texts from my father, emails from Rachel. At first, they were subtle. "Hi, sweetie, we miss you. Just checking in. How's school?" Then they turned more concerned. "Where are you staying? You know you can come home anytime." Then Rachel messaged me. "Mom and Dad are freaking out because people keep asking if you're the Nora Langley from Cold Room Dreamer. Did you really sell that garage painting for $18,000? Yes, I had. I ignored them for a while. I needed to. I wasn't ready to hear their voices, especially not dripping with guilt disguised as interest. But curiosity got the better of me. One night, after a long show opening at the gallery, I sat on my mattress in my tiny shared apartment and opened Rachel's Instagram. To my surprise, it was quiet. No violin videos, no study selfies. Her bio didn't mention her top-tier university anymore. I scrolled and scrolled until I saw a single vague post from weeks ago. "Taking a break from everything. Mental health comes first." I felt a mix of confusion and bitterness. I wasn't heartless. I didn't want Rachel to suffer. But it stung, knowing how different our treatment had been when I was struggling. I considered calling, but I didn't. Weeks later, I got a formal invitation in the mail. My parents were hosting an art gala. My art gala. They had apparently rented out a banquet hall in my hometown, invited local artists, media, even a few critics, and I was the guest of honor. They used my school bio, my portfolio, my press photos, all without my permission. The nerve of it burned through my chest. I didn't respond. Instead, I called my manager. Yes, by now I had one, and we crafted a plan. I bought a plane ticket. I showed up at the venue 30 minutes before the event began. My name was on the banners. My face was blown up on a poster behind the main stage. My parents were standing near the entrance in carefully chosen outfits, sipping wine and telling guests about how proud they were of their daughter. They didn't recognize me right away. I had changed. I was confident now, poised, dressed in sleek black, my hair in waves, eyes sharp. But when my father's gaze lingered on me just a moment too long, his face froze. "Mom, Dad," I said, nodding. They blinked. "Nora?" My mother gasped, breath caught in her throat. I walked straight up to the microphone at the front of the room. The event hadn't started yet, but people turned. The crowd grew quiet. "Hi," I said into the mic. "I'm Nora Langley, and I'm here to set the record straight." I took a deep breath and told my story. I spoke of the garage, the freezing nights, the tears they never noticed, the isolation, the betrayal. I told them how that cold, forgotten space became the birthplace of my art, and that while I owed my career to that pain, I owed nothing to the people who caused it. I told them the truth. I didn't approve this event. I wasn't invited. I had flown in on my own dime to stop them from using my story for applause they never earned. The silence that followed was deafening. I looked my parents in the eye. "You didn't believe in me when I was right in front of you. Now you want to celebrate me because the world does. I'm not your trophy. I'm not your redemption story. I am my story." And I walked out. That night, I held my own Livestream Art Exhibit from a small pop-up gallery I rented downtown. Thousands joined virtually. I sold every piece. I donated a portion to a nonprofit supporting teens experiencing family neglect. Weeks passed before I heard from Rachel. She sent a simple message. You were right. I'm sorry. I let them use you. I let them ignore you. I was too selfish to see it. I'm trying to be better. I hope one day we can talk. I replied, maybe one day. I hope you heal too. As for my parents, they haven't heard from me since. But I know they saw the articles. I know they watched my TED Talk on using pain to create purpose. I know they regret it. Because the girl they pushed into a garage built herself a home out of fire, paint, and purpose. And she never looked back.